Hello friends, welcome back to this online lecture series on earthquake resistant design of structure. Now as you know, we have started the discussion or we have started seeing a couple of examples regarding this subject of earthquake resistant design of structures. In the previous lecture, we have seen the example for calculation of center of mass and center of stiffness. In today's session, we are going to take up one more similar example where we are trying to understand the calculation of lateral forces or the distribution of lateral forces in a structural system based on the clauses of IS 1893 2016. So let us start today's session where we will take up one example for lateral force distribution. So as you can see in the figure is showing or giving you the data where it is mentioned that for a typical floor plan shown in the figure, calculate the lateral load distribution as per IS 1893 2016 where the size of the columns are 300 by 600, right, and assume uniform mass distribution throughout the floor. So you can see that the dimension in the x direction is 6, dimension in the y direction is 4. The lateral force of 200 kilonewton is being applied on this particular floor, and you have to calculate that how this lateral force is going to be distributed among the 4 columns that are shown in the plan over here, right. So again, what is going to happen is that the concept of center of mass and center of stiffness that we have seen in the earlier example is going to remain the same. So I hope that you guys are now well accustomed with the calculation of center of mass and center of stiffness, because that is required to solve this particular example over here, right. Now in case of the previous example, just like we did in previous example, that we selected a certain point as origin, and from the point of origin we started our calculation. So similarly here also I am selecting the point C, that is the left bottommost corner, as the point from where the point will be considered as the point of origin or 0, 0 point, right. So yeah, the one thing that is importantly mentioned over here is that uniform mass distribution is there. So since the uniform mass distribution is there, then what I can say is that the CG of mass and the CG of the system is going to coincide with each other, right. So if I calculate the value of xm, that is the coordinate of center of mass in x direction, then it is going to be 6 divided by 2, which is equal to 3. And if I calculate in y direction, that is ym, then ym is equal to 4 by 2, that is equal to 2. So I can say that the coordinates of center of mass are 3, 2 respectively, right. So once the center of mass is calculated, the next step is the calculation of center of stiffness. Now center of stiffness calculation again will be based on the orientation of the column, because this example is also going to give us an understanding that how the orientation of the column is going to play an important role in carrying the lateral load forces. So that has to be also kept in mind throughout this particular example. So here as you can see that 2 columns are aligned at 0 degree and the other 2 columns are aligned at 90 degree, right. So as a result of that, the size of the column for all the 4 columns are same. But when you look at the effective distribution at the end of the example, then you will see that based on certain type of rotation, it is going to carry more force as compared to the other force. So that is why the purpose of this example is going to be there. So if I want to calculate the center of stiffness, then in that case, first I need to calculate the stiffness of the columns. Now in order to calculate the stiffness of the columns, I have the size with me, I have the floor dimensions with me, but I do not have the height of the column with me, right. So when I don't have the height of the column, can I calculate the stiffness, or does it make necessary, or is it required to have the height of the column in order to calculate the stiffness? And at the same time the support condition is also required, right. So whether the condition is going to be fixed or beam, that is also not mentioned. So we need to assume that. So in that case, we are assuming over here that the support condition or the end condition is going to be fixed in nature, that is the support condition is fixed. So when I am considering a fixed condition, then the value of stiffness is to be considered as K is equal to 12 EI by L cube, right. So when I talk about 12 EI by L cube, then I can say 12 E and L cube is going to remain same, or it is going to be common in all the 4 columns, right. However, there is going to be one change, that is going to be the change in the value of I. So that is why I can say that stiffness is going to be directly proportional to I, right. So I will calculate the center of stiffness based on the value of I, and I for a rectangular section, that is moment of inertia for a rectangular section, is given by BD cube by 12, right. So let us do the calculation for center of stiffness. So when I am calculating the center of stiffness, then xs is equal to k1 x1 plus k2 x2 plus k3 x3 plus k4 x4 divided by k1 plus k2 plus k3 plus k4, right. So if I go back to the example, then I can see that if I start from the point of origin, right. So for the first case, my value of I will be 300 into 600 cube by 12. For the second case, my value will be 600 into 300 cube by 12. However, the distance from the origin is 0. Therefore, this entire term will become 0. Right? So that is what you can see in this example over here. That 0 into 300 into 600 cube divided by 12 plus 600 into 300 cube divided by 12. Then the other columns or the other grid is at 6 meters in the x direction, right? So it is going to be plus 6 into, again same thing, 300 into 600 cube divided by 12 plus 600 into 300 cube by 12 depending upon the orientation of the column, divided by the total stiffness of all the 4 columns. So 2 into 300 into 600 cube by 12 plus 2 into 600 into 300 cube by 12. So when you solve this particular thing, you will get the value of xs is equal to 3 meters, right? Similarly, let us look at the calculation in y direction, that is calculation of ys, that is the y coordinate of center of stiffness. So it is k1 y1 plus k2 y2 plus k3 y3 plus k4 y4 divided by k1 plus k2 plus k3 plus k4. Again, just like in case of x direction, the point which is going to be lying on origin is going to be 0. So same thing happens here also. That the first part of the term is calculation is going to be 0. Then in case of second part, the grid is located at 4 meters from the origin. So it is multiplied by 4. 4 into, again same thing, 600 into the distance that is going to be there, that 600 into 300 cube divided by 12 and divided by the total stiffness of all the 4 columns, that is 2 into 300 into 600 cube divided by 12 plus 2 into 600 into 300 cube by 12. So when you do this calculation, the value of ys that will be available to you as 0.8. So after this calculation, I can say that for the given system, the center of stiffness, the coordinates of center of stiffness is 3, 0.8. Right? So first step is the calculation of center of mass. Second step is calculation of center of stiffness. Both these steps are clear to you. Right? So whichever example we are going to take up, in that example, the calculation of center of mass and center of stiffness is going to be very important for us. So that calculation has to be correct. If this calculation is correct, then only the remaining part of the problem can be correct. Otherwise, it is going to be wrong. Right? Next step is the calculation of eccentricity, because we have been discussing this thing from the very first lecture, that the center of mass and the center of system should coincide, center of mass and center of stiffness should coincide. If they are not coinciding, then as a result of that, eccentricity will be there. And due to this eccentricity, there will be torsion in plan, that is the building will twist about the horizontal axis or the vertical axis, right? And that is how it is going to affect. That is what we are going to see in this example that we have taken up over here, right? So if I calculate the eccentricity, then again I have to calculate the eccentricity in both the directions, that is Ex and Ey, right? So calculation of it is eccentricity in x direction, Ex is equal to xm minus xs, that is the x coordinate of mass, x coordinate of stiffness, that is 3 minus 3 is going to be 0. And similarly, if I talk about the eccentricity in y direction, then Ey is equal to ym minus ys, that is equal to 3 minus 1.2 minus 0.8, that is equal to 1.2. So eccentricity in x direction is 0, eccentricity in y direction is 1.2. So for this eccentricity of 1.2, now there will be an additional moment that will be generated, and this additional moment will result in additional forces that will be transferred to the columns over there. So that is what we are going to see. Now based on this eccentricity, the code IS, that is IS 1893-2016, is telling us to calculate the static eccentricity and the design eccentricity. The design eccentricity, the formula is given by EDI is equal to 1.5 ESI plus 0.05 BI. Right? Because the eccentricity that we have calculated above is known as the static eccentricity. Based on the static eccentricity value, you have to calculate the design eccentricity, which is given by EDI. And EDI is equal to 1.5 ESI plus 0.05 BI, where BI is the floor plan dimension perpendicular to the application of force. So let us go back to the figure to understand this particular term BI. If you look at the figure, then the force is being applied in the x direction. So what is the value of BI? BI is equal to the perpendicular dimension to the direction of application of force. So if my force is being applied in this direction, then the perpendicular dimension that I can see in the figure is 4. So that is why I can say that the value of BI is to be taken as 4. Right. So if we come back to this, then EDI is equal to 1.5 ESI plus 0.05 BI. Then we substitute the values of ESI and BI, and then we get the value of the eccentricity, that is EDI is equal to 2. Right. So that is how the first thing criteria. Or the second criteria that the code is telling is that there is other formula also that the code is proposing. That is The other formula that is proposed is EDI is equal to ESI minus 0.05 BI. Right? Either of these have to be checked, and the higher value of out of these two have to be considered as the design eccentricity. So if I substitute the value of ESI is equal to 1.2 and value of BI is equal to 4, then I will get the value of EDI is equal to 1. So from the first formula I am getting the value as 2. From the second formula I am getting the value of design eccentricity as 1. Code is telling that you have to consider the higher value of the two. So as a result of that, we will select the value of EDI is equal to 2. Right? And as you can see in the figure over here, the center of mass is shown, center of stiffness is shown, and the distance between the center of mass and center of stiffness is also shown, which is known as the eccentricity is equal to 1.2. So what is going to happen is that now the load is going to be applied in this direction and the eccentricity is applying in this direction. So due to this, what is going to happen is that the moment is going to be there, and due to this moment, the twisting of the plan is going to be there, or the torsion in the plan is going to be there. So what will be that moment? So moment will be equal to load into lever arm, right? Load or the lateral load that you can say is 200 kilonewton, that is given to us in the data. Lever arm will be what? The eccentricity that is there, that is 1.2 that we the eccentricity is 2 that we have calculated, right? So the moment that we can calculate from this particular calculation of eccentricity is given by mx is equal to 200 into 2, that is 400 kilonewton meter. Mind well, we have to consider the design eccentricity and not the static eccentricity, right? So that thing should be kept in mind by calculation of the moment at this particular junction for the figure that is shown over here. Once the calculation of moment is done, then we can go to the distribution of forces on each of the individual columns that are going to be there. So for that, what you have to do is that you have to prepare a table like this, right? Where in the first column I have shown the column numbers, that is A, B and C and D. Then secondly we calculate the stiffness. Now in calculation of the stiffness, the question comes is whether I have to consider IXX or IYY, right? But the answer is that you have to consider IYY. How you have to consider IYY? Because your load is being applied in X direction. So the frame perpendicular to it is going to resist, and when the frame perpendicular to it is going to resist, then as a result of that, the direction of moment of inertia, that will be the major component in that, will be the IYY direction. That is, the stiffness that you are going to mention in this column, second column over here, for all the columns have to be with respect to IYY. So for the first column, that is column A, the value will be 300 into 600 cube by 12. For the second column, it will be 600 into 300 cube by first and the second column, its value will be same. Third and the fourth column, the value will be same, right? So that thing has to be kept in mind. That is, the stiffness in the IYY direction has to be considered. Then the second thing for the third column is showing the value of RIX. Now what is the definition of RIX? Let us go back to the figure. If I go back to the figure, then I can see that from the center line, RIX positive is shown. That is, from the center towards the left hand side, the RIX positive is shown, and from the center to the right hand side corner, the RIX negative is shown. This positive and negative can be interchanged, whether you are going to select this side as positive or this side as positive, depends on you. However, only the sign convention or the arrow is going to change in the figure lastly, but this thing can be assumed. However, what I am assuming over here is that from the center to the left side I am considering positive value, and from the center to the right side I am considering the negative value, right? And what is the value of Ri, or what is the definition of Ri? That is, the distance from the column to the center of stiffness is known as Ri, right? That is, Rix is equal to distance of column to the center of stiffness, that is going to be Rix. So if I go back to this table, then in case of Rix, if I want to tell or select the value or put the value for the column A, then for the column A, if I look at the figure, then I can say that the value is going to be 3. How it is going to be 3? Then as you can see in the figure here, the dimension in X direction is 6. A is the first column that is shown, right? From the center of stiffness to the corner of the column. So from the center, Rix in this direction is taken as positive. So 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. And since it is going to be from the center towards the left side, the value is going to be 3. So if you look at the table, I have put the value as positive 3. Then for the second case, it is going to be negative 3. Why? Because it is going to be on the other side. Same thing for C, same thing for D. Then after calculation of the stiffness, you have to do the summation of stiffness, that is going to be sigma I, which is given at the bottom of the table as the value that is shown over here. Then in the fourth column, the multiplication of Ki into Rix has to be done. So that is also can be done because we have the value of Ki, we have the value of Rix, so we can calculate. Then in the next column we have to do the calculation of Ki into Rix divided by Ki into Rix whole square, right? So that is also shown over here. That calculation can be done because we have both the values. And once that is done, then Ki Rix divided by sigma Ki Rix square, right? So Ki Rix square, the values you have obtained for individual columns, then you have to do the summation at the bottom as shown over here. And once that summation is done, then you can calculate the fifth column that is shown over here, that is Ki Rix divided by sigma Ki into Rix square. And once that is done, then you can calculate the forces for two different types. First is the force due to moment, which is given by Ft, and second is the force that is known as the direct force, which is known as Fd, right? So what is the formula for Ft and what is the formula for Fd? So let us look at that. The formula for Ft is given by, that is the force due to moment is given by m into Ki Rix divided by sigma Ki Rix square, where Ix are going to be in the suffix. You have to keep that thing in mind. Don't get confused over here that it is going to be in multiplication. I and X are both the suffix that are there, right? So it is going to be Ft is equal to m into Ki Rix divided by sigma Ki Rix the whole square. So if you have this value, then if I calculate for the column A, then I will get the answer as 53.20 kilonewton as shown over here. And similarly, if I calculate the value of direct force, that is Fd, as shown over here in the figure, then the formula for Fd is given by Fd is equal to F into the value of I divided by sigma I. So value of F is the lateral load, that is 200 kilonewton. Individual value of I is there, sigma I is also there. Put the values, you will get the value of Fd, and that value is coming as 80 kilonewton. Right? So similarly, when you go back to this table, you can calculate the values for all these forces that are mentioned over here. Right? So the check whether your calculation is correct is that you can see in the last column, that is the calculation for Fd, where we have got the values of 80, 80, 20 and 20. So if I do the summation at the bottom end of the table for Fd forces, then the total value is 200 kilonewton, which is matching with the actual application of load, that is 200 kilonewton. So whatever force is being applied to this floor is being evenly distributed, is being distributed depending upon the stiffness, and the same amount or same value is obtained at the bottom of the table. That is a check that we can do at the end of our calculation, right? So now if we look at the distribution that is shown over here, then the important thing that I told you at the beginning, that the purpose of this example is to understand that how the lateral force is going to be affected by the orientation of the column. So if you look at there, that the orientation which is going to be towards the direction of forces, that is the columns that are going to be rotated at 90 degree towards the forces, then in that case the amount of force carried by them is going to be more. Why? Because where the stiffness is going to be more, the amount or the capacity to absorb the forces is also going to be on the higher side. So as a result of that, what you can see is that those columns which are going to have higher amount of stiffness, these columns are going to carry large amount of forces. And same thing is obtained in the behavior which we are observing here in the example over here. So I hope the importance of center of mass, center of stiffness, then the effect of orientation of the column is understood to you through this particular example that we have taken, and the procedure to calculate the lateral force distribution and how you can cross check whether your calculation is correct or not is clear to you through this example that is shown over here. Thanks for attending this lecture. Stay tuned for the further lecture series as well.